Imagine this. It's a Saturday morning in the early 1960s. The sun is shining, the smell of freshly cut grass lingers in the air, and kids are riding their bikes up and down the street. You're holding your mom's hand, skipping down the bustling main street of your hometown. There's only one destination in mind: Woolworths. The bell above the door chimes as you step inside, and you're instantly welcomed by the sweet aroma of freshly popped popcorn and the sight of colorful pick-and-mix candies. Rows of toys, records, and all sorts of treasures stretch out before you, waiting to be discovered. Woolworths wasn't just a store. It was a magical place, a cornerstone of our childhood, and a gathering spot for the entire community. As you wander through the aisles, your eyes light up at the sight of shelves filled with an endless variety of goods. There's something for everyone here. A new pair of socks, a shiny toy truck, a box of crayons, or even a bag of your favorite candy. But Woolworths wasn't just about shopping. It was about creating memories. It was a place where time seemed to stand still, where the worries of the world faded away, and where you could simply enjoy the experience of being a child. Today, we're going to take a journey back in time to revisit the rise and fall of Woolworths, a name that once echoed through the streets of America. For many of us, Woolworths was more than just a retail chain. It was a place where memories were made, where life happened. Whether you picked out your very first lunchbox for school or found that perfect Christmas gift, Woolworths was there, a familiar presence in towns and cities across the nation. The beginning of Woolworths. Our story begins in 1879 in a small store in Utica, New York. Frank Woolworth, a man with a revolutionary idea, opened a modest shop with one simple yet groundbreaking concept: selling items at a fixed price. Back then, the idea of fixed pricing was unheard of. The norm was to haggle over every purchase, a process that could be exhausting and time-consuming. But Frank had a vision of a store where customers could shop with confidence, knowing exactly what they would pay. The first store didn't last long, but Frank Woolworth was no quitter. Fueled by determination and a belief in his idea, he opened another store in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. This time, it was a success. The concept of fixed pricing caught on quickly. People loved the simplicity, the fairness, and the affordability. By 1912, Woolworth had merged with several other 5 and 10 cent store chains, forming a retail giant, the F.W. Woolworth Company. What began as a small, innovative idea had blossomed into a sprawling empire. Woolworths became synonymous with affordable shopping, a place where everyone, regardless of their social status, could find something they needed. The beauty of Woolworths was its accessibility. It was a place where a little bit of money could go a long way. And as the company grew, so did its impact on the communities it served. By the early 20th century, Woolworths had become more than just a store. It was a part of everyday life. Picture this. You walk into a Woolworths, and you're met with endless possibilities. Need a new set of dishes? They've got it. Looking for the latest toy for your child's birthday? It's right there on the shelf. From kitchen supplies to toys, from school supplies to the latest records, Woolworths had it all. But Woolworths wasn't just about the products. It was about the experience. The stores were designed to be inviting, with wide aisles and items placed within easy reach, encouraging customers to browse and explore. Unlike other stores of the time, where goods were often kept behind counters, Woolworths invited you to touch, feel, and pick up items yourself. It was revolutionary. The open layout made shopping an adventure, a treasure hunt where you never knew what you might find. And then there was the pick-and-mix candy section, a true highlight for every child. The sight of those colorful candies, the joy of filling a bag with your favorite treats, the anticipation of tasting them later, it's a memory that many of us still hold dear. Woolworths was a place where even the simplest things felt special, but perhaps the most iconic feature of Woolworths was its lunch counter. These weren't just places to grab a quick bite, they were the heart and soul of the community. You could sit down, order a soda or a grilled cheese, and chat with friends or make new ones. The lunch counter was where life slowed down, where stories were shared, and where connections were made. It wasn't just about the food, it was about the people, the conversations, and the sense of belonging that came with every visit. The lunch counters at Woolworths were a place where memories were made, where friendships were formed, and where the worries of the day seemed to melt away. Whether you were sitting down for a quick snack after school or enjoying a leisurely lunch on a Saturday afternoon, the lunch counter was a place of comfort, of familiarity, and of community. It was a place where you could sit side by side with your neighbors, share a meal, and feel a sense of connection that is often missing in today's fast-paced world. The golden age of Woolworths. As the years passed, Woolworths continued to expand, both in size and in significance. By the 1950s and 60s, Woolworths was in its golden era. It wasn't just a store, it was a symbol of American life. With thousands of stores across the country, Woolworths was where many of us bought our first toy, got our first job, or even had our first date. It was a place of firsts, a place where so many of life's milestones were celebrated. Woolworths was a trendsetter, introducing self-service shopping long before it became the norm. The open layout, the fixed prices, the variety of products. It all combined to make Woolworths a favorite destination for families across America. It was affordable, accessible, and most importantly, it was familiar. In an era of rapid change, Woolworths provided a sense of stability and continuity. It was a place where you knew what to expect, and that predictability was comforting. Woolworths wasn't just about shopping, it was about community. It was where parents brought their kids for a treat after school, where teenagers met up with friends on a Saturday afternoon, and where families gathered to share a meal at the lunch counter. Woolworths was woven into the fabric of our daily lives, a constant in a rapidly changing world. In a time before the internet, before social media, Woolworths was a social hub. It was a place where you could see familiar faces, where you could feel connected to the people around you. It was a place where communities came together, where everyone was welcome, and where memories were made. But beyond the shopping and the community, Woolworths also had a way of sparking joy in the little things. Remember the excitement of saving up your allowance for weeks just to buy that special toy or trinket you had your eye on? Or the thrill of finding a rare collectible in the bargain bin? Woolworths was full of surprises, and every visit felt like a new adventure. For the young and old alike, Woolworths was a treasure trove of delights. Whether it was the newest record from your favorite band, the latest toy craze, or even just a simple notebook for school, Woolworths had it all. And the best part? It was all within reach. No matter your budget, you could always find something to take home. A little piece of happiness to brighten your day. But Woolworths was more than just a place of joy and community. It also became a site of profound change during one of the most pivotal moments in American history, the Civil Rights Movement. On February 1st, 1960, 4 African-American students walked into a Woolworths in Greensboro, North Carolina, and sat down at the lunch counter. They politely asked for service, but they were refused. Instead of leaving, they stayed seated in peaceful protest. This simple act of defiance ignited a wave of sit-ins across the country, challenging the segregation laws of the time. Woolworths, a place that had once symbolized the simplicity and joy of American life, now found itself at the heart of a national struggle for equality and justice. The sit-ins spread like wildfire, and soon, Woolworths lunch counters across the South became battlegrounds in the fight for civil rights. It was a turning point, both for the country and for Woolworths. The courage of those young students was a testament to the power of peaceful protest and the strength of the human spirit. Woolworths, in its own way, became a symbol of the struggle for equality, a reminder that even in the most ordinary places, extraordinary change can happen. These sit-ins weren't just about desegregating lunch counters, they were about desegregating hearts and minds. The bravery displayed by those students inspired thousands of others to join the movement, and Woolworths found itself at the center of a historic shift in American society. These protests were more than just a fight for equal rights. They were a fight for the soul of America. And Woolworths, with its iconic lunch counters, became a symbol of that struggle. It was a place where the battle for justice was waged not with violence, but with dignity, determination, and unwavering resolve. As the years went on, the world around Woolworths began to change. The rise of shopping malls and big box stores in the 1970s and 80s brought new challenges. Consumers were looking for convenience and specialization, and Woolworths, with its broad range of products, began to seem outdated. Woolworths had always been about variety, five and dime stores where you could buy anything and everything. But as the retail landscape shifted, that model began to lose its appeal. Consumers wanted more choice, more convenience, more specialized products. Woolworths, once the undisputed king of retail, began to struggle to keep up. Despite efforts to modernize, the company couldn't fully adapt to the rapidly changing world. The stores that had once been bustling centers of activity began to close, one by one. By the late 1990s, the once mighty Woolworths was no more. It was the end of an era, and with it, a piece of our collective history faded into the past. Woolworths may be gone, but its legacy lives on in our hearts and in our memories. For many of us, Woolworths represents a time when life was simpler, when the world felt a little smaller, and when a trip to the store was an event to be savored. It was a place where we could find a sense of belonging, where we could be part of something bigger than ourselves. More than just a store, Woolworths was a cultural institution. The innovations it introduced, like fixed pricing and self-service shopping, laid the groundwork for the retail world as we know it today. The sense of community it fostered, the idea of a store being more than just a place to buy things, these are concepts that live on in our modern shopping experiences. And let's not forget the impact Woolworths had during the civil rights movement. The courage of those 4 young men in Greensboro, and the thousands who followed their lead, showed the world that change is possible, even in the most unlikely of places. As we look back on the rise and fall of Woolworths, we do so with a sense of nostalgia, yes, but also with a deep appreciation for what it represented. Woolworths was more than just a store. It was a part of the rhythm of daily life, a place where the extraordinary could be found in the ordinary. For many of us, the name Woolworths brings back a flood of memories. The excitement of finding that perfect toy, the joy of filling a bag with pick-and-mix candies, the warmth of sharing a meal at the lunch counter. Woolworths was more than just a store. It was a piece of our lives, a part of our story. And though Woolworths stores are long gone, their spirit lives on. It lives on in the way we shop, in the way we connect with our communities, and in the way we remember the past. Woolworths may have closed its doors, but it will never close in our hearts. So the next time you find yourself reminiscing about the past, take a moment to remember Woolworths. Remember the joy of walking down those aisles, the excitement of finding a treasure, and the warmth of sharing a meal at the lunch counter. Remember the way Woolworths brought us together, the way it made us feel, and the way it shaped our lives. Woolworths was more than just a store. It was a part of our story. And that story will continue to be told, as long as there are those of us who remember. Because in the end, it's the memories we carry with us that keep the past alive, and Woolworths will always have a place in those memories. The legacy of Woolworths isn't just about nostalgia. It's about understanding the impact that a store can have on a community, on a culture, and on the way we live our lives. Woolworths showed us that a store could be more than just a place to buy things. It could be a place to connect, to discover, and to make memories. Today, as we shop online, browse the aisles of modern superstores, or enjoy the convenience of home delivery, it's worth taking a moment to reflect on where it all began. Woolworths played a key role in shaping the modern shopping experience, and its influence can still be felt in the way we shop today. The story of Woolworths is a reminder that even the most ordinary places can have an extraordinary impact. It's a reminder that the things we take for granted today were once revolutionary ideas, brought to life by visionaries who saw the world differently. Woolworths was one of those visionaries, and its legacy will continue to inspire generations to come. In the end, Woolworths was more than just a store. It was a part of our lives, a part of our communities, and a part of our history. It was a place where we could find a little bit of everything, and where we could find a little bit of ourselves. And that's something that will never be forgotten. As we move forward, let's carry the spirit of Woolworths with us. Let's remember the lessons it taught us, the joy it brought us, and the way it made us feel. Woolworths may have closed its doors, but it will always have a place in our hearts and in the story of our lives.